Good Lord, you've got to have the civil rights commissioners hunt this out what we knew 2 weeks ago? What is going on in this country? U.S. Civil Rights Commission, Obama's era school leniency policy brings fear and danger. Well, yeah. Two members of the U.S. Commission on Civil Rights says the Obama era school leniency policy that discourages reports of threatening behavior by minority students to law enforcement is dangerous. But this wasn't minority down there in Florida, people. Says many schools have adopted that lenient disciplinary policy, define offenses down so that blacks and Hispanics aren't suspended or expelled at significantly higher rates than whites and Asians. Okay. Students and teachers have reported being fearful of going to school. Also, one school principal stated that the people that are most harmed are the good students who want to learn, but they're in a chaotic environment. And here's another one from the Obama era. It says the danger should be obvious. It's an important reason more African students are being. It is important more African students are being disciplined than white or Asian. There's more. That don't even make sense. The Department of Education impact policy is discouraging discrimination rather than preventing it. Okay, that makes sense. The federal government has an unimpressive track record. In the past, it has pressed local schools to adopt tough zero-tolerance rules for guns, including things that appear to be guns, resulting in children being suspended for guns made out of nibbled Pop-Tart or a stick. And then disciplinary action against kindergarten and first graders, who are generally too young to even spell sexual harassment, much less engage into it. Yeah, you see where this is going? I mean, this is socialism at a gallop. The debate over the Obama's administration policy comes as Nicholas Cruz is charged Wednesday with 70 counts of premeditated murder following a shooting rampage at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School in Broward County, Florida. Despite all the warnings of violence and aggression while he was in school, he was never arrested. He was ultimately able to purchase a firearm. Oh yeah, we've got to fill up these loopholes, boys. Yeah, that'll stop all this stuff. Runcie and Broward County Sheriff Scott Israel signed onto the Promise program and Israel's campaign video in 2012. Let me zoom this in so just don't get bent out of shape here with me moving this camera. Okay, they entered into the Promise thing. Okay. Okay, let's start again. Broward County Schools adopted this Promise program policy after current superintendent Robert Runcie, remember this guy, left Chicago, where he once worked for Obama Education Secretary Arne Duncan and assumed his post as head of the school district. Runcie and Broward County Sheriff Scott Israel signed to Promise. The Israel's campaign in 2012, the Democrat praised the ideology behind the lax school system. But it's a Democratic stronghold. You saw Clinton down there and Debbie Wasserman Schultz and Sharpton. I am a sheriff who will measure the success of the agency by the young people we're able to keep out of jail and not put in jail while keeping our neighborhood secure and making sure that we're doing things the right way. Does that sound any kind of... There's no sense in that at all. Okay, we'll bring a cultural exchange to this agency that's in dire need of one. Within a year, Runcie's arrival at the school district, school arrests dropped dramatically by 66%. Seeking to implement a similar nationwide policy, the Obama administration brought the Broward County officials to Washington to propose their plan as a possible model for school districts across the country. You see how socialism spreads, people? You want communists? Put one in office. In 2014, the Obama administration issued a dire college letter that mapped out recommendations for national school disciplinary policies that would purportedly put an end to the school-to-prison pipeline. The policy threatened schools with a risk of federal investigation if they showed higher numbers of referrals to law enforcement for minority students than for other students, even if the behaviors in question were unacceptable. With the Obama era policies in place now in more than 50 school districts throughout the country, students whose behavior would have previously drawn an arrest or a suspension would instead be referred to teen courts or talking circles. Good Lord, people. March 2016, Catherine Kerson wrote at the Star Tribune about the increasing number of students assault against St. Paul, Minnesota teachers, as well as students' riots requiring police intervention since the adoption of the lax disciplinary practices. Yep, we have a segment of kids who consider themselves untouchable. Most parents will tell you if you eliminate consequences for kids' bad behavior, you can expect a lot more of it. It just makes common sense. But we're not talking about common sense here. We're talking about a powerful ideology that has gripped the imagination of the Twin Cities school officials and far beyond. There's a notion of equality, a buzzword that is rapidly becoming all-purpose justification for dubious policies, not only in education but in many public areas. The U.S. Commission on Civil Rights held a hearing a few months ago on the school-to-prison pipeline. Many progressives start with the assumption that the profound disciplinary rates have been caused by racial discrimination. Yeah, give me this. Get off of it. The U.S. Commission on Civil Rights is composed of 8 commissioners. 4 are appointed by the President and 4 by Congress. The commissioners serve 6-year terms and are not confirmed by the Senate. Currently, 4 members of the commission are Democrat, 3 are independent, 1 is a Republican. The 4 presidential appointees were all selected by former President Barack Obama. Now, this was on Breitbart site. I suggest you go look at this. If I'm smart enough, I'll put this into the link if I can. Yeah, I'll be able to put it into the link. But this is what's going on in America. You know, if there's no child control, you don't have gun control. When you have child control, when you discipline the kid at home, this stuff doesn't go on. It didn't go on in my lifetime. Come on, people. There's so many asinine laws and policies in this country, and you wonder why it's going to hell? Thanks for watching.